What we'd like to do today is talk to you about browsers. And there are many browsers out there, and we're going to talk about most of the browsers, in fact, have many similarities. Okay, what we'd like to do is talk about what's the difference. In this case, it's what's the difference between a browser and a search engine. Major browsers and search engines, we'll talk about those. Getting around the window of a couple of different browsers. And then we'll talk about some extras, like cookies and special search capabilities. So what's the difference between a browser and a search engine? Right? A browser is a piece of software that's on your computer that allows you to access the internet. It handles all the communication going back and forth, gets you to where you want to go. But it's not a search engine, right? It's used to stop cookies and pop-ups, for example. A search engine, on the other hand, is a website somewhere on the internet. The most prevalent of those is something we call Google. In 1992, around 1992, a couple of guys said, gee, people are having a hard time entering information to get to the website they want to go to, where you had to type in http://www. blah, blah, blah. And I don't know about you folks, but I had a terrible time getting it right, at least the first or second time, and was always getting to either website not found or not the website I was after. So those guys said, well, why don't we come up with white pages for the internet? And they went out and they collected at the time all the internet addresses that were out there, some information about what each one of those, and they put that information at their website and allowed people to search those pages to find the website they were after. And the rest, as you may know, is history. And then the site was called google.com. Major players in the web browsers are, I just talked about search engine. Major players in the web browsers are Firefox, Mozilla, Google Chrome, not to be confused with Google search engine, Internet Explorer from Microsoft, Edge from Microsoft. Edge is the Windows 10 version of Microsoft's browser. We have Safari from Apple, and it's on all the Apple devices. We have one called Opera, and a new one that I just started using called Brave. And it seems to be the one that handles privacy much more elegantly. And one that we may have all started with, and I think is still out there, called Netscape. A search engines are google.com. One from Microsoft called Bing. One from Yahoo called, guess what, yahoo.com. There's one out there called DuckDuckGo. This one, its claim to fame is it maintains your privacy. It does not collect any data on what you search for or keep records of what you search for. There's one called Ask. AOL has a search engine. Baidu has a search engine, and one called Wolfgang Alpha. And if you're interested in statistics about anywhere, Wolfgang Alpha is a fun website to go to. For example, you can, if you live in a city, I live in Sarasota, Florida. So if you go to Wolfgang Alpha and you type in Sarasota, Florida, it will give you all kind of demographics and weather history about Sarasota, Florida. Common aspects of all browsers. There is a URL. How many of you know what a URL is? Universal Resource Locator. Basically, it's the address of the website you want to go to. Then there's another aspect of all browsers. It's called the address search bar. And it usually looks something like this. And it links you to a particular website. Now, I want to point out something to you at this point. I just showed up with a little, it's in yellow-orange here, http://www.bing.com. I have a question for everybody. If that shows up in an email and you click on it, will it take you to bing.com? The answer is, in this case, if I put my mouse pointer on it, my mouse pointer turns into a finger, and look where it's going to take me. It's going to take me to google.com. It could take me to Rhodesia or Romania, some website in Romania. It doesn't have to be another search engine. And what I'm going to do is click on it, and you'll see what I mean. I clicked on it, and see what happened? I went to google.com. Very, very often, this is the way we all get into trouble. When we get an email, it says, click on this link. And you click on the link, and all of a sudden you're in, you're in bad territory, where you're liable to end up with a virus on your computer. And there's a third item there. It says HTTP up here. If there's an S on the end, that means it's a secure site. And that means the data being sent between your computer and that site is encrypted and very hard to get a hold of. HTTPS, right? There's a back arrow and a front arrow on most browsers. Tabs. Okay, we'll talk more about tabs in a minute. But if you think of, many of you are old enough to remember phones that had buttons on them, business phones, and you were talking to John on one line and the other line starts ringing, and you say, John, could you hold on a minute? And you press the other one, and now you're talking to Margaret. And you could have 4 or 5 or 6 of these on one phone, and all of them could be blinking, meaning they're all active, and you can switch back between John and Margaret anytime you want. Right? There's something called bookmarks. Sometimes the browser calls it favorites. These are sites that you may go to frequently, and you just want to remember the address so you don't have to type it in. Right? And in many browsers, there's something called a favorites bar that contains the bookmarks or the favorites that you can actually see while you're on the main screen. And again, it makes it much easier to get one from one site to another. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple minutes. And then there's a history, a log of all the websites you visited. If you haven't cleared that, you can go back many, many, many days, weeks, months to see the websites you have gone to. Okay, so we have an HTTPS. There's an example of it up here. It's HTTPS google.com. Right. And there's a green lock. And it does protect your data between where you're sending it and the website getting it. But if the website getting it is a fraudulent site or one that's up to fraudulent activity, guess what? It's not going to protect you from getting viruses or things you don't want on your computer. So be picky about the sites you go to, especially about data you're being asked to enter. I once got an email. It says, from Bank of America, we're working on our system, and we need you to log on to our website and ensure your data is correct. So I clicked on it, and it took me to something that looked very much like Bank of America. Had the right insignias, had very much the right look of Bank of America, and I started putting in information because it wanted me to log in. And then it started asking me all kinds of things. And I said, I'm not at Bank of America. The term for that is phishing. You have been phished. You have been caught. Click to be sure you're on the correct website, right? Here's a couple examples. I could have bankamerica.com. That's probably right, but your bank info verification.com or yourbank.com.ru, probably not. When you get an email with a URL on it and it looks like the one you want to go to, youtube.something something, don't click on it. Copy it and paste it in the bar that looks something like the one at the top here. Okay? Only provide websites with minimum information required. Opt out of having to add data that you save. They save your data, particularly if you don't plan on using the site frequently. So don't ask them to keep your credit card information, for example. All right. Battle of the browsers. I'm going to cover two different browsers. One's called Chrome, and that's the one from Google. And it's supported by Windows, Macs, and there's versions of it for Macs, and Linux. Or it can run on all three of those operating system bases. We got the performance of Chrome, the average page load time. That's when you click on something, it takes approximately 1.75 minutes to go from one site to the next, or one page to the next. It uses about 3% of your CPU resources, and its overall ranking in terms of performance is #1. So these are the best numbers you'll see for a browser. Now remember those numbers, right? 1.45, 3%, and 1 for later reference, right? And here's what Google looks like, right? Google Chrome, right? Up here is something called the taskbar. And here are the 3 tasks in the taskbar. I've got Google Images here, an inbox, and Amazon online shopping, right? Here's the bookmarks that we talked about. These are very, very favorite bookmarks that list and stay on the screen so you can get to them easily, right? There's the reload button. What is that all about? In other places it's called refresh. The purpose of that is, let's assume you clicked on a website that has stock information on it. Most of the time, the information, once you've loaded it, is static. So if you go to lunch and come back, it's the same. But the stock price that's listed there is most likely not the current stock price. So you would click this little circle up here, so it would reload the information from the web address you were looking at. The little house there takes you to home, back to the home address. Here's the address search bar. It has 2 functions. First function being, if you type in an address on it and it's a correct website, it will take you there. If it's an incorrect website, right? Gotta go to it. If it's an incorrect website, it will say, gee, that website is not a valid website, so I'm going to take you to Google in this case, because that's the default I've chosen. It's going to take me to Google and say, Google will do a search on whatever you entered up there. I'll give you an example of that in a minute. Okay? We have the capability to add another tab, and we have the settings. And we can add bookmarks by clicking the star. And these are the Google free tools. If you're in Google, the little Rubik's Cube here is what you would click to go to see other Google applications. Let me bring up a Google Chrome. So this is Google Chrome. It has Sarasota Technologies User Group. It has Amazon.com, and it has Bing. So if I click here, I get Amazon, and if I click here, I get Bing. Here's the back and forth. Here's the refresh. If I click here and say, gee, instead of Bing, which is right here, I want to hang up on Bing and call Google. So I type in google.com, press enter, and there's Google. And if I hit the back arrow, I bet you all can say, I'm going to take me back to Bing. Now, if I click over here on Sarasota Technology Users Group, it takes me there. You'll notice the back arrows and forward arrows are now inactive because for that particular tab, I haven't gone anywhere yet. I can go back here to Google and then go back to Bing. All right. I can add another tab by clicking the plus. And let's say I want to go to, I'm going to make two Amazons, right? So if I want this tab to talk to Amazon, I click on it, and all of a sudden that tab's Amazon. Now I have two tabs, and I usually wouldn't do this, but I'm just giving you an example. And I can close any one of the tabs by clicking the X. Down here I've put some of my most active sites, and I can add one there. So if I want to put Bing down there, I click the star. I say I want to put it on the bookmarks bar. I want to call it Bing, and I click done. And now I've got Bing on the favorites bar. Okay, now let's look at Firefox. That's a different, many of us use the Firefox app. That happens to be one of my favorite. The operating systems it supports are Windows 8 and 10, the OS from Mac, Linux, Unix, and FreeBSD. Those are all operating systems that Mozilla Firefox can be loaded on. Right? Its load time is 1.34 seconds, so it's a little faster loading a website. Right? The average CPU usage is much bigger, right? So it's a little faster than Chrome, but it uses twice the CPU time, and it's second in performance. And here's what Firefox looks like. You know, it's quite similar, except it does have a toolbar here at the top, which gets you access to the tools a little easier than it would be in Chrome. But here's the tabs bar. Here's the home, the refresh, the address search bar, the star over here. And here's the favorites bar. Now what we'll do, I can just menu bar, tabs bar, refresh, home button, favorites bar. There's the little lock on the address search bar. Okay. All right. And I could go through an example of Firefox here, but it's very, very, very similar to that I just showed you on Chrome. Here's the usage comparison, right? Notice that Chrome occupies 46.25% of all devices out there. So that's the market share it owes. These are computers and smart devices. Now, as would be expected, Chrome is the major major browser that goes on all Android devices. That would be all Android tablets, for example, Android watches, Android phones. Safari comes in number 2, as it's on all Apple devices and computers. Internet Explorer and Edge are both Microsoft products. Edge is Windows 10. Internet Explorer is on all previous versions of Windows. And there's Firefox. Right? Here's what the desktop, just desktop browsers, and again, Chrome way up here. Firefox is second because we've taken out of the equation all the iPhones, iPads, I'm sorry, all the tablets and smartphones. And then Internet Explorer, Safari, etc. down the list. Okay. Average CPU usage, you'll notice that Chrome is the least, Safari is next, Firefox is third, Internet Explorer uses the most, followed by Opera. And as you can guess, the winner is Google Chrome. So it is, in most aspects, a better, more effective for uses browser than Firefox. Okay, some extras here. Let's talk about downloads. Let's talk about blocking ads and unblock ads or unblock Ultimate. We'll talk about cookies. And the best ideas for searching. Okay? In downloads, where do downloads go? Right? If you're looking at, let's say, Google Chrome here, and you download something, where does it go? Doesn't seem to appear on here. Sometimes there's an arrow up here that shows you where it goes. But if you go to File Explorer, and I'll bring that up here, all right, there's an item called Downloads somewhere. If I scroll down here, here's Downloads. If you click on it, here are all the things I've downloaded, and I haven't reset it since May 15th. All the things that I have downloaded since May 15th. So if you download something, here's where it goes. And of course, you can go in here, click on it, and delete it if you wish. Here's where it's located usually. Okay, or as I clicked on it was right here. Ad blocker. What is an ad blocker? Ads come up on various websites that you go to. And an ad block is something that removes those advertisements. There are pop-ups, banners, other common forms of online advertisement allowing a user to surf the web without annoying distractions. So that's what you want to have occur, right? The best ad blocker out there is called Ad Blocker Plus. It's either free or there's a minimum charge for it. And it's very, very, very effective. You go to the website adblockerplus.org, okay? And then you would download it. I want to show you what it looks like. It shows up, it kind of looks like a stop sign. It shows up on your browser. And if you go to a site, it starts accumulating. Things that it's blocked. Right? So if I go on to Amazon here, see it's already blocked 9 there. 28 different ads it's blocked. 37. Right? So Amazon's, of course, trying to send me a lot of ads that I don't want, and it's blocking them. I think it works quite effectively. I've been using it for some time, and it's saved me a lot of angst if I'm trying to click around the ads or close them. Another thing called cookies. You know, cookies can be good and they can be not so good. What are they, right? They're called internet cookies, browser cookies, web cookie, or simply cookie. It's a piece of data sent from a website and stored on the user's computer. Several years ago, I went to LL Bean and bought myself a pair of hiking boots. I got the hiking boots, they were fine. About 3 months later, I went back onto LL Bean and it said, "Hi, Bill. How would you like some socks to go with those hiking boots?" Now, I looked at that and said, boy, that's pretty clever, right? They remembered that I bought hiking boots and now they're trying to sell me some socks. That's good marketing. Until I discovered that they had saved the information about me buying hiking boots on my computer. So that when I returned to Google, returned to LL Bean, they saw the cookie on my computer, they got the information and presented it to me. Now, I don't mind them doing the marketing. I do mind them using my computer and my computer resources to do that. So that's why I don't like cookies. Cookies can also be, in some cases, not so nice, where they save information about what you're doing on your computer, and then when you log back into that site, it sends it to me. So if they're very sophisticated, they could put a keylogger on there and log in everything you type on your computer. So that when you type a social security number, they record that. And then when you log back into their site, they get all that information. And they're able to sort through it and find where you might have put in a social security number, for example. So for that reason, I don't like cookies. There isn't much of that going on anymore because most of the browsers have stopped that capability. Most browsers have the capability of clearing cookies. On Google Chrome, at the top right corner, there are 3 vertical dots, and then you click Settings. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, click Advanced, and then it says Clear Browser Data, and that would include cookies. Let me do that. Now it said, click the 3 dots, go to Settings, right? The bottom, click Advanced. So I'm going to go clear to the bottom, click Advanced, and then I'm looking for where it says Clear Cookies. Clear Browsing Data, and Clear Browsing History, and there you go, clearing cookies. So it's relatively easy to clear them. It's a similar process for Firefox. For those of you who might be using Firefox, you have a menu bar, you click History, you click Clear History, and then select what you want to delete, and then click Now. Or you can go to Options, Privacy and Security, scroll down again to where you see Cookies and Data, and then click Clear Data. The presentation will be online, so you can take a look at this. Okay? What I'd like to do is now, I'm sure many of you use a search engine of some kind, right? There are many different search engines. Google is one of them. Yahoo is one. Bing is one. DuckDuckGo is another. To perform a search, all you do is go to the search engine in your web browser, type in the keywords, also known as a search term, and press enter. So if I go to Google here, and I say, when, now you notice I'm not typing in a word or trying to get to a website. I'm just asking Google a question. He even anticipated what I was going to type there. But here I've gone to, and it actually tells me the answer, and then gives me a whole lot of sites here. I can get more information about Abe Lincoln. Google is the premier search engine and most used, and it's become a verb. Right? Bing and Yahoo are tied for second. People say what? Google it, right? DuckDuckGo is the only one that does not track your activity and cleans out all cookies when you log off. The one you choose is your personal choice. Okay. As I said, it's become a verb. Just Google it. Whoa, you won't believe what I just found when we Googled your name. Have you ever tried that, by the way, out there? Have you tried Googling your name? If you're not there, there will be many people with your name, Like I found I had a William Crowe that was Admiral of the Navy at some point in the past. Right? How to search? It's a Google search, right? So I went to the site Google, and in this case, we typed in office supply. And then we clicked on Google search. As you're typing office supply, oftentimes it comes down with suggestions. If one looks pretty good, you can click on it. A lot of the times I just click Google search. I'm feeling lucky is an interesting one. If you click I'm feeling lucky, it will do two steps. It will find all the websites that match your search criteria and then pick the top one and take you directly to that website. So that's what I'm feeling lucky is all about. So let's take some examples here. In this example, we're searching for a recipe. So I type in recipe and I clicked on Google search. And it comes up with all these websites. And it goes on and on and on, and you can do another page and on and on and on. Notice that at the top here, it says add. If you click on one of these, the registers at Google will go ka-ching because these are commercials. These people paid to be at the top of the list, and if you click on them, they pay an additional fee. So I typed in recipes, and there it says all recipes, foods, friends, recipe, inspiration. When I typed in recipes, it says recipes, Google search. It also see for ground beef, Cinco de Mayo, ground turkey. So I could have clicked one of those for specific kinds of recipes. Or I could have typed it in. You can refine your search. I want all recipes for cookies, but I don't want any chocolate in the description of the recipe. So the use of a hyphen or a minus sign there, you notice there's a space and then I go minus chocolate. So I would get all recipes for cookies, but would not include any recipes that include chocolate. If I want recipes and I want the specific kind of recipe, I would say recipes and then put in quotes. So I've used quotation marks in front and back. Whatever wording you put in the middle, that wording has to be in that exact format in the description of the website. So I would get recipes, and each one of the finds, if you will, would have chocolate or would have sugar cookies somewhere in the recipe description. There's also some interesting ones, right? I want recipes, sugar, and most of the time, this bar down here is set on all. If you click on images, I get recipes for sugar cookies, and I get all the images of those. So if I were looking for alligators, I would just type in alligators, click images, and it would give me hundreds, if not thousands of pictures of alligators. Being from Florida, you have to understand. Okay? And there's also search tools out here. So if you click this, you can say, I want recipes, sugar cookies, I want pictures of them. I click search tools and I say, I only want those that have the color red in the picture. So it would give me pictures of red sugar cookies only. I already talked about advertisements. So in summary, keep it simple, keywords or phrases, right? Refine your search by using specific words in quotations, right? You can refine it more by saying, I only want pictures or news. And you can exclude words by using a minus sign. I want sugar cookies minus sprinkles. Search for extra words. I want large red sugar cookies, and I should have a quote mark at the end there. Okay? All right. Time's up, everyone. I gotta jump ahead here a few slides. And see if there's any questions. David, are you there? Ah, David's not there yet.
No, I'm here, but I was on a different screen.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Questions. Actually, we don't have any at the moment.
I did such a wonderful job.
Yes, it was a very good presentation. And what I'll say is, I will leave the chat running for about another 15 minutes. So if anybody has any questions or anything, they can ask, and we'll send it to Bill and let him answer them. If not, as I said, everybody takes a break. We got about half an hour before. Oh, okay. One person just put up and asked me. We can ask you. Avast secure browser.
Avast? I didn't know. David, that's a new one for me. I didn't know Avast had a browser.
Yeah, well, it's part of their
So part of their suite?
Part of their suite.
Okay.
And it's mainly used. People use it for secure browsing when they're going to secure websites. They need to be secure, banking and that type of thing.
Sure, sure.
So.
Okay. You answer that.
It has a secure bank mode.
Okay.
So, so a lot of people switch it on and off.
Yep.
And just use it. So as I said, most of them is at Google, and it's part of the add-ons for Avast. You can add it on to the link up there and go for it.